Hi everybody, welcome to Einstein Media Center, your one-stop shop for all unnecessary media dissection. Today we are going to be discussing Sacramento's Dance Gavin Dance. Dance Gavin Dance is famous for helping pioneer a subgenre of post-hardcore, now dubbed by fans Swancore, named after guitarist Will Swan. Although Dance Gavin Dance was one of the first to make waves with this particular brand of post-hardcore, and are arguably the most famous and influential, I would say the first band to play this style of post-hardcore that received wide recognition was The Fall of Troy. Anyway, in addition, Dance Gavin Dance are known for their numerous lineup changes and being one of the most divisive bands in the metal and hardcore scene. This discussion is going to be centered around Dance Gavin Dance's 2009 album, Happiness, and why I think it is one of their most unique and special albums. In 2008, Dance Gavin Dance released their self-titled album, which was the first album with clean vocalist Kurt Travis. Kurt replaced original clean vocalist Johnny Craig, who if you are not familiar with, there are no shortage of video essays discussing the ups and downs of that man's career. But that is not what we are discussing today. Following the release of the self-titled album, Dance Gavin Dance endured even more lineup changes, most notably the departure of John Mess, who handled harsh vocals for the band up until this point. In addition, second guitarist Zachary Garron joined the band, with bassist Jason Ellis rounding out the lineup. To record this album, lead guitarist Will Swan took on the duty of harsh vocals for the band. I think this is what caused the album to have the most unique sound in their catalog to this day. Obviously, the sound is going to change because Will Swan and John Mess sound different when screaming. However, I think the real difference is in how the songs were crafted. Dance Gavin Dance has always been a touring band, and with this in mind, Will had to be able to perform both vocal and guitar duties live. If you have ever listened to Dance Gavin Dance, you know that one of the most distinct features of their songwriting is fast and noodly guitar parts. When I say noodly, I mean parts that sound like this. Although this is still prevalent on Happiness, I think this album offers the most straightforward guitar writing the band has ever seen. The title track of this album is a great example of this. Although Will Swan's vocals only appear at the end of the song and there are definitely still some wanky guitar maneuvers, it is relatively compared to other songs in the band's discography. If you're into the more wanky type stuff, I would definitely recommend their next album, Downtown Battle Mountain 2. I think that is, in regards to wanky guitar parts, the most egregious of all of their albums. But back to Happiness. I don't think the straightforward playing was at a detriment to the band. I think Happiness contains some of the catchiest songwriting the band has ever had. Strawberry Swisher Part 1 sees the band incorporating elements of funk with heavily reverbed and atmospheric guitars, with a plucky and kinetic bass line. Other highlights include Tree Village with a devastatingly punk verse containing vocals from Will starting at the 117 mark, or a song like I'm Down with Browntown containing one of the most anthemic choruses on the album. In my opinion, no song on the album tops the fan favorite Carl Barker. Every aspect of this song shows what makes this band great. This song incorporates elements of funk, metal, and no shortage of impressive instrumentation. But on top of that, the chorus of the song is like nothing else on the album. It's really what sells this song. The pre-chorus builds up into Kurt belting out one of the most pleasing, just poppy, but not in a bad way of poppy. It's just very easy to listen to choruses the band has ever written, backed by these incredibly earnest sounding guitars that still have that Dance Gavin Dance touch to them. You can tell these guys can play, but they're not just throwing it in your face. They really struck a perfect balance of complex and simple that made this whole album so great. I think this is what makes the album so different in my opinion. The band has been criticized for being a bit too masturbatory with their guitar playing, and to an extent I do agree. But it is also a quality that the fans love. The genre is built on the trope of these noodly, insane guitar parts, but again, the balance that Happiness is able to achieve is what makes it different for the band and kind of aided them in making catchier and even easier to listen to songs. They're a bit more accessible. And I know I went on how the band toned down the wanky and noodly playing on Happiness, but at the core it's still a Dance Gavin Dance album. There is no shortage of amazing musicianship on this record, and particularly with guitars. Even though I think Will had to craft the songs with having to perform vocal duties in mind, the guitar parts are still top tier. I think this is also in part of having Zachary Garin in the band. The album would not be the same without him. He is one of the most talented guitarists in the scene and provided a great foil to Will Swan's playing. Zachary Garin also has one of the most unique styles when playing guitar. He can absolutely shred, but I think he also embraces a bit of an ambient style that the band has not seen since. Zach's contributions to this album definitely should not go unnoticed. Although he is no longer with the band, you can hear him playing in his band, Strawberry Girls. If you're into instrumental rock, they are definitely worth a listen. I tend not to listen too much to instrumental metal and things of that nature, but I think Zachary Garin's unique playing style definitely sets Strawberry Girls apart from other instrumental bands in the scene right now. Back in 2015, Dance Gavin Dance embarked on their 10-year anniversary tour, where they toured with A Lot Like Birds, Slaves, Dayshell, and Strawberry Girls. At the time, Kurt Travis was singing for A Lot Like Birds, and Zachary Garin was, and still is at the time of recording this video, playing guitar for Strawberry Girls. In addition, Johnny Craig was performing with Slaves. This gave the band the opportunity to perform with all iterations of their lineup, and they did so. There is a great video on YouTube that captured the entire performance from that tour in Sacramento. I'll link it in the description below. I urge you to watch the whole thing, but most specifically, check out their performance of Tree Village. There's a great moment between Kurt and Will trading off harsh vocals, which to me really encapsulated the raw talent and chemistry the guys had together. I think this also showed how talented a vocalist Kurt Travis was and still is. Obviously, many vocalists can do the whole harsh and clean vocals, but hearing Kurt do this live when he normally did not perform the scream vocals is just really cool to see. His scream sounds pretty menacing too, which makes the performance pretty sick to watch. For those of you familiar with Dance Gavin Dance, you know Kurt is no longer with the band. He went on to sing with A Lot Like Birds for a few albums, who is another amazing band in the same vein of post-hardcore. Honestly, I may do a video on them in the future. If you don't know A Lot Like Birds, definitely give them a try. Most fans would direct you to the album No Place, but I recommend their album Conversation Piece, which came out in 2013. In addition to some solo projects and features here and there, Kurt Travis sang on the EP for Eternity Forever, which consisted of him and multi-instrumentalist Ben Rossett, who is also the drummer of Strawberry Girls. This is one of my favorite EPs of all time, and if you've never heard it, I really would recommend it to anyone regardless of type of genre of music you listen to. If you're going to listen to anything from this video besides Happiness, definitely listen to the Eternity Forever EP. Although Dance Gavin Dance has moved on with their sound and has created some amazing albums since 2009, Happiness will always feel uniquely itself in their catalog. I think some of the spirit of Happiness pops up on their 2013 album Acceptance Speech, or on 2018's Artificial Selection, on a song like Story of My Bros, or even Midnight Crusade. Happiness is a one-of-a-kind listen, and if you are a fan of the band and are trying to dig a little deeper into their back catalog, I think this is going to offer the most eccentric and probably best experience the band has to offer. Well, thanks for stopping by and listening, everybody. This is my first video, so I hope you all enjoyed. I think I'm going to stick with this, so, like, subscribe, comment, make the algorithm happy. Again, thanks for stopping by. Later.